welcome to Casual Yelling, Casual Conversation Podcast with 85% less yelling. I am Matt Elfring. I am joined here today by Bryan Williams from development for 2K24, WWE2K24.
Yes, sir. I'm good, Matt. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show. I always love talking with you, especially about pro wrestling.
Very much pro wrestling. Look at this. I have all the release date info right at the bottom. Oh, wow. I did it. Bryan, you're
it's a professional outfit right here. I love it.
We're getting all the plugs out.
Yeah.
Special guest referee is returning this year.
Yes.
How does it differ from previous incarnations?
Probably like on the surface of it. I think the first thing that fans are going to immediately notice is the fact that the special guest ref this year is actually wearing referee clothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third iteration of this match type that the franchise has had, going back to the original times when the game was just called SmackDown. And when it was reintroduced in WWE 13, we made improvements over the original stab at it. But even then, the referee that you selected was just in their skivvies. So it almost like just to look at it, you would think you were watching a triple threat match, because there just was no visual there to let you know and to communicate that this is the ref. So, having the ability to enter into a special guest ref match with the character selected as a ref wearing their clothes is a huge plus, as well as the fact that players will also have the option of going into custom superstar and creating their own referee attire.
Nice.
For default superstars, custom superstars, managers, everything. So that's probably the biggest, visual difference. And then besides that, it's got, plays similarly, but a whole lot better to the last iteration where, there is a meter that governs your referee actions. And
Okay.
so you can only kind of partake in the shenanigans for so long before the folks in the back kind of pull the plug on you. But at the same time, I think we added a really cool element too, where that's an option. So if you choose, if you'd rather not play with that governing meter, you can easily turn that off and just kind of deal with a knucklehead referee throughout the course of the match. We just had our community. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, are you able to kick out managers or other people that are causing too much commotion out there?
Yeah, you can. As a ref, you are the supreme official in this match. Count pins or not, count ring outs or not, call rope breaks or turn a blind eye. So we just had a community day event a couple days ago, and the special guest ref match and the gauntlet match generated the loudest pops and excitement. So I can't wait for players to get their hands on it.
Now, when you're playing as a special guest referee, is your character also made of glass?
No, they are not. So this, I'm glad you brought this up actually, because it kind of kickstarted a new thing that we added. So if you're playing as a superstar, as a special guest ref, your base movements are that of the referee, and a lot of this stuff got refactored this year, just to support and stand the match type up. So you're gonna see a lot of improvements just with how the referees behave. But if you're refereeing a match as a superstar, you can basically switch between referee mode and fight mode. And you can toggle back and forth with the back button on the controller or whatever, approximate button, whatever controller you're playing as. So you can get physical. You definitely can. You can earn signatures, finishers. You can. So you definitely will have a lot of moments to intervene in the match, outside of just counting pins or checking submissions. You can definitely get hands on in a very physical way.
So if you're getting too crazy as the ref, there's obviously the governing refs above you that will stop you, I'm assuming?
Yes. So what happens is that if you try to, interfere too much, and again, this is if you're playing with the meter on, once it reaches capacity, like you fill that meter, you are basically notified that, hey, it's almost like, you've got the plug in the ear. It's all right, man, we're coming to get you. You've got to stop. We're pulling the plug. So you'll be notified that you're being replaced. So, but you'll still have a couple of seconds before the ref, the new ref, which will be AI controlled, will make his appearance on the stage, walk down into the ring, and basically kick you out. But once you're kicked out, you then will basically turn into a manager at ringside.
Okay.
So you still are there present. You're just no longer in charge of officiating the match.
This is an out of the blue question. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You have wrestlers coming in to do mocap when you're getting new moves for the game.
Yep.
Are there wrestlers, or who is the wrestler you would say is the best at doing mocap
Oh man, right now,
right
because
now, or just
yeah,
an all time?
yeah. Well, right now, there's this guy. I no longer direct the motion capture.
Okay,
My coworker and friend, great game designer Jason Vandiver, is taking those responsibilities, which I love him for that. Mocap is a lot of work, so I'm glad he's doing
yeah.
that. But he's got this guy Titus Alexander, who's a guy on the West Coast independent scene, and he's great. He's a great pro wrestler in his own right, but he's excuse me, but he's able to also take what he does in his actual matches and he can translate that into the mocap arena and space, which you would think if you're good if you're good at your job as being a pro wrestler, you should easily translate to mocap. But the thing is, it's not always the case.
Mm,
I've worked with a lot of great professional wrestlers who were good at mocap, but kind of had a struggle because it's different. I mean, you're in a cold environment and you're asked to do things that you normally do when you've got hundreds or thousands of people screaming, and
mhm.
without that energy, it can be kind of difficult. But Titus is he's a definite standout, and yeah, he captures some of the best motions for us, whether it's moves or entrances or victory scenes. He's a good one.
Even in the suit with all the white dots on.
Even in the suit with all the dots. Yeah.
So the other three matches that you're including this year's gauntlet match, ambulance match, casket match. I'm kind of thinking about casket and ambulance matches because the end goal is kind of the same: lock person and
Yes.
thing.
Right. Yeah. It's
So
oh,
what's
I'm
the
sorry.
different? Like what makes them different than each other?
Well, yeah, at the core, these are two container matches where, like you said, the point of the match to win is to throw your opponent inside either the casket, the ambulance, shut the lid. If it's the casket, shut the doors for the ambulance to walk away the victor. The props themselves are what separates them. The mini game is the same for both match types, but when you've got that casket at ringside, the different attacks and things you can do, whether closed or open, make it unique to that particular match. And then with the ambulance, which is parked just at the base of the ramp, so it's close enough to the ringside area. I mean, it's an ambulance, right? I mean, you've got
Mhm.
doors that you can interact with. You can, there's a ladder you can climb on top of the ambulance and fight up there. Toss your opponent off of the ambulance to ringside. It just offers a lot more kind of improvisational combat and things that you just can't find in any other match type. And that's not to say anything of just a presentation that are in both. If you've ever seen a casket match in WWE, which I'm sure you have,
Yep.
or an ambulance match, if you've seen it on programming, like the presentation is there as well. We have the scene at the start where the casket is rolled to ringside by the referees. You see the ambulance back into place after the superstars have made their entrances. When you win the ambulance match, it lights up and you get all these cool effects and everything just to go along with the presentation to make it feel that much more representative of what you would see on, you know, WWE PLE or an episode of Raw or SmackDown or NXT.
So I'm a big creator wrestler guy. I think you know this because we've talked about
Yeah.
it before. I think everybody knows that I'm a huge dork for creator wrestler. What are some of the improvements this year? What has changed? There's been moderate improvements over the years,
Oh
especially
yeah.
since visual concept has taken over. What's the big changes for this upcoming year?
Well, yeah, Custom Superstar always gets a lot of love and attention because, I mean, it really is for the community one of the things that, extends the life of the game each and every year. We've got some amazing creators that are, populating community creations with just works of beauty,
Yes.
But the one thing that I will point to for Custom Superstar that I think, it may sound small on the surface, but I think it is just a huge quality of life improvement is the fact that you can instantly save your progress as you're creating your character. I forget which button it's mapped to, but there is this quick save, so
Mhm.
that if you need to step away, if you just want to make sure that that whatever you're doing, your progress is being saved. Let alone you maybe have a cat or a dog, unplug the console. You can constantly be saving your progress for your characters. And I mentioned before the ability to create custom special referee attire for in support of that match type, as well as just of course we're always adding new parts, improving the tech of those parts, the fidelity of them to make sure that the parts and the characters themselves, the custom superstar models, are simpatico with the default characters that are behind me. Your Bianca Belairs,
Mhm.
your Rhea Ripley's. So yeah, it definitely gets its love and attention each and every year.
The quick save to me is very important because sometimes I'll be spending, I don't know, an hour and a half working from scratch on Hulk Hogan as a server from Pasta Mania. And then this happened, and then my power went out, and I had to start from scratch. I'm not going to just use Hulk Hogan from '92 or whatever. I'm making him from scratch. So I think quick save is such a nice thing for people like myself that spend hours upon hours making not great wrestlers, stupid wrestlers.
Well, brother, we are glad to have that in there this year for you and everybody else who spends countless hours crafting and creating these characters because it's an undertaking. I'm
Yeah.
terrible.
Hey, editor Matt here. Brian's audio cut off for a second, so this is the filler in between that, so it's not just a bunch of like silence for a few minutes. That's it. Bye.
Oh yeah, I was just echoing your sentiments that I'm terrible at making custom characters, but I enjoy the process. But they end up looking
I'm
pretty
not
silly,
terrible. How dare you?
Oh, well, I was just talking about myself then. Oh, I'm terrible. My bad. I'm terrible. I need to get lessons from you, Matt. I need to get lessons from you, Matt.
This is done. Interview over. So tell me about the gauntlet match this year, because I think we've seen the gauntlet match in WWE programming a lot more.
Yeah.
So how does it work on the kind of wear and tear of the wrestler throughout the match?
Yeah, so the gauntlet match. So just and before I get into that, I like to clarify and that the match types this year, we as a team we really wanted because we know people have been wanting special guest referee for they've been very vocal about that. But I'm very happy that this year we've been able to bring back two match types that have been in the game previously, and at the same time add two match types that have never been in this franchise with the ambulance and the casket. The gauntlet match to me is, I guess, it might not be the sexiest sounding because it doesn't have the props like the ambulance or the casket or the shenanigans of a special guest ref match. But as you mentioned, this is a match type that is used frequently on programming I would say, within WWE within the past 3 to 4 years. And as a returning match, I think it is phenomenal. There are three variations of the gauntlet that we have this year. We have the normal gauntlet, which is your start out with one guy, work your way through the number until the last person standing one-on-one. We have the gauntlet eliminator, which is essentially it's a gauntlet that works like a rumble, where you'll have up to 8 superstars in the ring at once, and it's the last remaining superstar that is the victor. And then we have the turmoil match, the gauntlet turmoil match, which is basically one superstar against a team of others. And there is an achievement attached to this one where it's like you have to and if you lose, it's game over. The other two versions of the gauntlet, if you start out as our cover athlete Cody Rhodes as number one, but you end up getting pinned, you're able to take control of the next superstar coming out. So you can keep playing. But in the turmoil, once you get that defeat, it's game over for you. And we have an achievement where you have to go through a 30-person gauntlet in order to win this achievement. So good luck. And as you mentioned, as far as the health, your health will regenerate slightly. Again, there's an option that you can toggle that on or off, or you can choose to go the Iron Man route and basically just go through the entire gauntlet with the health that you have, the finishers that you have. And I will say it's really fun. And for me, the biggest thing about this year's gauntlet, all three of them, is again I just go back to the presentation of everything. We've had this match type in the game before, but it did not have anywhere near the level of production and presentation. When you defeat one superstar, the winning superstar will have an emotion. They'll emote, whether fatigue or if they're just running through these guys with ease, confidence, and they'll beckon for the next person to come out. That superstar will enter the stage. So it just, again, it makes the match look more on par with what you would see when you see these gauntlet matches happen on WWE programming. So it's really fun. And at the community day, they were holding tournaments.
Really?
Gauntlet match. Yeah, yeah. Basically, one influencer would start, two actually. The person who loses, they would then pass the controller to the next person, take control of whichever superstar was coming down. So they had a really good time with it.
This is my last question because I'm
That's
sure
it.
that
in the new game that you can press,
or I got to get this one. This is
show up
very
and do
important.
something wacky.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing this for.
Unfortunately, no.
Not.
But you've given me a great idea, and the talks have been had about the R-Truth button. I can say there is a button that will allow you to chuck a chair
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, throwable weapons are back in 2K24. So yeah, that's another.
Can you throw R-Truth at people?
You actually can. If you use a grapple carry, you can throw them out of the ring. You can throw them through a table. So there's some throwing of R-Truth there.
I don't want to throw R-Truth. I just want him to show up randomly.
Yeah.
Bryan, thank you so much for chatting with me. I hope you have the most wonderful day.
Oh, thank you, man. It was a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure talking to you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You can also just do the plugs, even though it's written down below, in case this is audio only too.
Yeah, so WWE2K24 is available. Early access is March 5th, and it goes, hits the, store shelves and street March 8th. So be sure to check it out. Experience the 40 years of WrestleMania in our new showcase mode, and come for the shenanigans of the special guest referee match, and just in general, come for what is sure to be a great time. I made a lot of these games, and I think this one's special. So thanks.